From the heart of America, where hard work, freedom, and faith still define who we are. From the farms to the factories, from small towns to city streets, this is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled.
The strength, the grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
All right, let's dive right in as we go into another action-packed day, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom and putting America first, making sure this country is here for our kids and grandkids. Let's get rolling here on a Friday and cover all the big things. Here are three big things to start with. Number one, Texas AG Ken Paxton says he would drop out of his runoff race with Senator John Cornyn if Cornyn agrees to help pass the SAVE Act in the U.S. Senate. It is a bold challenge. Number two, Kristi Noem fired yesterday by President Trump as Secretary of Homeland Security, and the president nominated Markwayne Mullins, the Oklahoma senator, to replace her, but she's not leaving. We'll explain. And number three, the war with Iran, now a week old. And by all measures, the United States, along with Israel, and now Arab nations and others, are pounding the regime with endless attacks. So how long can it go on? Well, some now say until September. That would be a political liability for the midterms and the Republicans, it seems to me, that's for sure. But what do you think? It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966, 877-310-9966. Remember to get your point in or ask your question so we can hear from as many people as possible. Don't dawdle, as my mother would say. All right, but first, I want you to hear this.
Now that people are on antidepressants, now men are as well, they're on Ozempic, they're on all this stuff.
Yes.
Now, if you watch a football game, I go out of my way. I love that you're on Substack and so because you don't have to see commercial. When you watch football, all of a sudden you see commercials, and I just watch. There are so many side effects to, and, it's always suicidal and rage, and and by the way, every school shooting, everybody's all guns. I said it's not about the guns, and it turns out that it's not only about the guns. People on drugs, not only on drugs, it's usually the wrong hormones for the wrong sex. And this transgender shit is to me one of the. This was the Rubicon for me with Democrats. If you're still a Democrat and you support mutilating 5-year-olds because they like the color pink, you're just a monster. Shut up.
I'm
just
agree.
Done with Democrats. If you're still a Democrat now, you're nuts.
You're nuts. James Woods, Hollywood actor and activist on social media. All right, Free Speech, Free for All, Friday, 877-310-9966. Mike is in upstate New York to kick us off. Mike, welcome to it.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Greetings from upstate New York. How are you doing?
I'm good. What's on your mind today?
Well, look, I'm kind of wondering, we seem to stumble from one disaster to the next over the last 5 years. And I think we tend to lose track of some of the things that have happened to us as we move along here. And one thing that occurred to me recently is that I wonder what's happening in those small American towns that were dumped by the thousands of illegals and refugees by the Biden invasion. What's happening there in those school districts, in those hospitals and so forth? It seems like when you dump, a couple of thousand kids into a school district, a small one, where they don't speak English, they don't know how to use a flush toilet. What's happening in these towns? Is there some way that you could get somebody to check into that and make a report?
I think that's a great idea, Mike. Thank you for the call. Springfield, Ohio. Lewistown, Maine, better known as Little Mogadishu. These other places all over America. If you just took and dispersed them to the wind, these people, and put a few here and a few there, it'd be one thing. But you go in and you change the culture of a small town. Mike's exactly right. He nailed it. So let me hear from you, folks. Do you have one of these communities near you where they've brought in, and it doesn't matter what country they're from, right? Could be from Ireland. They're not, but they could be. The point being is, how has it changed a community that you're familiar with? Go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email. I'd love to hear what's happening in your state. And we'll go put some cameras on it. We will. We'll go take a look for ourselves and find out. Mike, thank you for the call. Let's go to Ray in Virginia. Ray, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
What's on your mind?
Well, I seen I lost you.
No, you didn't lose me. Let's go.
Hey, Steve, I've been watching all week long, and I've only heard one thing. People moaning and groaning and crying. And I've come to one conclusion. Democrats are smarter than we think. They can multitask. They can cry, they can moan and groan, all at the same time. And we have to change how we look at them because they're not normal people. A normal person would take things in stride and look at left and right and what's good and bad. The Democrats can't do that. They have one agenda, they're sort of, how would you put it, they can only see straight forward. They can't see to the side.
They've got one agenda, Ray. You're exactly right. Good phone call. Here's the thing. There's only one thing they care about. One, they hate Donald Trump. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what he does, how well he does it, what happens that's good or bad, doesn't matter. And this is for a big subsection. It's not for all Democrats, but for a big subsection of the Democrats anymore. They don't care. I just listened to Ro Khanna just before I came on this morning, Ro Khanna, saying, yes, Donald Trump has committed numerous impeachable offenses. Really? What? What? Building a ballroom, closing the border, what? What's your gripe today? You know, and I've talked about this. After an election that my candidate loses, right? And I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not affiliated with any political party, but if there's an election that my candidate loses, I don't get up and cry the next morning and lay in the fetal position in the middle of the living room. No, I get up and I go to work. That's what Americans do. You get up and you go to work and say, well, we'll have to do better next time. Not so for those on the left. You've seen the pictures. Gnashing of teeth and crying and carrying on. Exactly right, Ray. A lot of problems coping for our friends on the left. Let's go to Tom in Michigan. Tom, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Steve. Love your show.
Thank you.
I just think that you're welcome. I just think that we need to have a border authority, not a czar authority of the border. That's not us. We're a border authority. And we need to keep calling this a constitutional republic because I'm tired of hearing about democracy. That's a form of socialism, isn't it?
Well, there's a reason we're not a democracy, Tom. Thank you for the phone call. Look, democracy was something debated by the founders. They rejected it. A democracy is two wolves and a sheep sitting there deciding what's going to be for lunch, right? And they vote. Simple stuff. Democracies fail because at some point the people realize they can vote themselves into the treasury. Democracies fail. Representative republics protect minority voters as well. That's the point. Everybody gets a voice. Doesn't mean you're going to win if you're in the minority, unless, of course, you're a Democrat and you've got the filibuster, at which point you can upend government because Republicans don't have the balls to do what's right, but that's a story for a different day. Anyhow, we are a representative republic. Thank you for the call, Tom. Free speech, free for all Friday. Ed, Mike, Jennifer, and more after this. I'll be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. All right, diving back into a free speech, free for all Friday. We go around the country every Friday to hear from you, to get your impressions on the big stories and what's happening. Ed is in Indiana today. Ed, welcome to the program. What do you have for me?
Morning, Steve. When good negotiates with evil, good loses every time. We've allowed Iran to get so powerful and cartels to get so powerful that the U.S. military is the last entity human entity on Earth that can stop them. And anybody under 80 in this country hasn't been alive when we fought a war to win it, and it's just got out of hand. And we also got to look out where God's hand is in this war.
And you think you made a great point there. We haven't fought a war to win one in a long time, it seems. You know, fighting to a tie in Vietnam or whatever that was, however you rank that now, was a disaster. But I believe we're in a different day here. Look, if you missed it, we were out taking out drug cartels in Ecuador. At the same time, we've been operating against Iran in the last week, working against drug cartels in Mexico, obviously Venezuela, knocking those down, taking control of the Western Hemisphere. And for anybody watching, there is no question about the superiority of the American military. It's been demonstrated several times in the last year, whether it was Midnight Hammer, Epic Fury, the operation against Maduro in Venezuela. You pick your operation, sophisticated, coordinated, on point, and powerful, incredibly powerful. Great call, Ed. Thank you. Let's go to Mike. He's in Arizona as we go around the country. Mike, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. I'd like to get your thoughts on the DOJ seemingly not to worry about Neville Roy Singham, who contributes millions of dollars to supposedly nonprofits to pay agitators and protesters.
Neville Roy Singham is another product of the left. He's up there with George Soros. He is a problem. He funnels piles of money, and I mean piles of money, tens of millions, maybe billions of dollars. He made a fortune here in America and then went to China, where he sits and he sends all this money back to agitate against America. It makes no sense at all unless they pay him even more. Neville Roy Singham is the new George Soros, and he might be worse. So if you don't know his name, become familiar with it. Mike, you're exactly right. We have to stay focused on that. These people are being paid. All this money flowing in, and the DOJ needs to focus on this. I agree with you. Figure out who the agitators are, but more importantly, figure out who's paying the freight. I mean, you see all these signs. They're all pre-made. They're all held in warehouses and storage units, and they're all ready to go. Let's see. Here's the Iran locker. Oh, no. Here's the Palestine locker. Oh, no. Here's the Venezuela locker. Whichever locker you want with your signs for your rent-a-riot. Right? Just get your rent-a-riot, load up the vans, pay the protesters, who aren't real, and get on your way. You know what was real? The Iranian people dancing in the streets, celebrating, praying that after 47 years their country might become free again. Or something close. Let's go to Jennifer in Michigan. Jennifer, how are you?
Well, good morning. I was just wondering why, when they were interviewing and questioning Bill Clinton, they never brought up the photograph of him or the portrait of him in a blue evening gown in Epstein's home.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if you didn't know him very well, Mr. President,
that would have answered the question. Did you have anything to do with Epstein, and in what capacity? That would have answered everything.
Well, I agree with that. And what about Hillary saying she never met the man? He gave the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative
Hillary
millions.
has a split tongue like a snake. She doesn't know the meaning of the word truth.
Yeah.
The end justifies the means. Thank you, hon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There you have Jennifer checking in. We didn't spend much time with the Clinton tapes because so much else is going on, but I didn't believe a thing. The one thing that my takeaway, Bill Clinton gazing with a little grin on his face, a little bit of spittle in the corner of his mouth, looking at the pictures. Can you tell us about that? He's got a grin on his face. The lawyer tries to take the picture away. He grabs it back so he can reminisce. I mean, come on. Jeez. All right. Nate is in the great state of Iowa, the heart of this country. Nate, how are you today?
Good, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
Well, I'll tell you. I called about 6 months ago in regards to this. I still stand firm on getting rid of Susie Wiles, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, and Kash Patel. Nothing's being done. I know that they get on X and they say, oh, we've caught this person, we've caught this group. Well, no, we didn't vote for that. We voted for the deep state. The deep state is still out there and still actually committing the major crimes that we voted to get out. That's all I got, Steve.
I appreciate it, Nate. You feel the same way a lot of people do. We want to see people that have committed crimes against this country. And you can go to Minnesota. Look at the fraud. $19 billion in fraud last time I checked. I mean, these are big numbers, and nobody's been arrested. Can't believe it. Can't accept it. Chance for one more. Al from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You're up, buddy. What's up?
Yeah, Steve, I watch your program every day.
Thank you.
It. Get up early to watch it. And my little issue is every time somebody comes up with this Constitution thing, freedom of speech, I can own a gun, they never go back to the original intent of our founding fathers that talked about morals, religion, providence, God. None of this nonsense, these wackos in Minnesota and these Congress people that scream and beat on Trump, who's doing one tremendous job, best from 75.
Al, you're exactly right. You make a great point. John Adams and others said you had to have a moral populace. Oh, and a well-educated electorate, said Jefferson. These are important points. You have to be moral. You have to be educated. What do we have today? I'm not sure we have either in big numbers. More of your calls after this.